Hi guys! So, I was asked a question on one of my videos, and instead of like simply answering the question with a comment, I decided to make a video because I have nothing better to do with my time, and I don't really have any friends. So, yeah. And the question I was asked was, do I like DC comics or Marvel comics? And I'm just gonna get straight to the point. I am more of a DC person. I love DC comic books. I pretty much actually every comic book that I've ever purchased was a DC title. And it's not because, don't get me wrong, it's not because like I have this like agenda against Marvel where I'm like, fuck Marvel. I like I'm only gonna read and watch DC related shit. It's not like that at all. It's pretty much because ever since I was little, I literally grew up on DC heroes. Like all the shows that I watched that were hero related, well, most of them anyway, were DC, like Batman Beyond, Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, all the good shows, from like the 90s and early 2000s. I watched that shit. Whereas with whereas with Marvel, there weren't that many cartoons that I liked or watched, like with the exception of the only two shows that I remember watching that were Marvel based were um, the Spider-Man show. I don't think it's called the Spider-Man show, but the cartoon that's always on Tumblr, and X-Men, either Revolution or Evolution. I always mix up those two fucking words. But that show, I love both of those shows. And that's about it. But with Marvel, with DC, there were so many, like, cartoons. Like, they just kept shipping out and more characters and stuff. And I was just, like, always excited and amazed. And I was more familiar with DC characters. So when I decided to read comic books, it was only natural that I would mainly read DC series as characters. So, yeah, that's pretty much why. But don't get me wrong, I read some Marvel comic books. Like, if you recommend me a Marvel comic book, I'm not gonna take the comic, look at it, and like throw it in your face, and I'm like, this isn't DC, bitch. I will read it because I've read some pretty good Marvel comic books. Like I've been reading Spider-Man, fuck, I forgot what it's called. It's either Ultimate Spider-Man. I always mix up the titles of the Spider-Man ones. It's the one with Miles Morales, like the little black Hispanic Spider-Man. Oh, I love that. He's so adorable. And I've been reading Young Avengers and The Runaways. I liked it until they changed like the drawing style, and I just couldn't read it anymore. But it was really good up until they changed the drawing style. And X-23 and Punisher comics and just a lot. And I'm probably going to end up reading more. Like, if anyone recommends me them, I'll definitely read them. But I'm not going to lie, when I go to a comic book shop, I usually go to the DC section and I, like, skip all of the Marvel. I'm sorry. So, yeah, that's, to answer your question, I am a DC fangirl person. So, yeah, if you read comic books, which franchise or whatever you call it, do you like better? Marvel or DC, or do you just like both, or do you like neither? Or do you like Dark Horse or something? I don't know. Leave a comment below. Okay. Oh, and if you have some comic book recommendations, you should totally be like, you should read this series. And I'll definitely read it for you guys, because I need some comic books to read, because I'm bored. Okay, bye!